let's go.
Good thing, yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag. Couple hundred need a G-Wagon. Big tax on my big spending. Big facts, no pretending. We back on the full sense. That good thing, yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag. Couple hundred need a G-Wagon. Big tax on my big spending. Big facts, no pretending. We back on the full sense.
Crazy flow, need a straight jacket. Cash flow, I'm a bank addict. 6 subs, had the bass smacking. 808s, had the place clapping. 3 girls is enough for me, so I pull out like the stocks crashing. Like an IPO, trying to purchase me. This a private sector, so you can't have it. Faking all that boom bapping. Who you think you is, boy? 90s want they sound back, so I give rap all these fake rappers as I take matters in my own hands. I don't need rapping, I don't need Zans. I don't need help, I'm a grown man. Now they can't left and they so mad, it's like
good thing, yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag. Couple hundred need a G-Wagon. Big tax on my big spending. Big facts, no pretending. We back on the full sense. That good thing, yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag. Couple hundred need a G-Wagon. Big tax on my big spending. Big facts, no pretending. We back on the full sense.
yeah, hey, look what I got. New whip with no top. Cooking up no stove top. Ice cold, no snow drop. Big budget ass, big facts. Big money in the contract. Been running no contact. New record with the new tracks. Yeah, they been sending me new plaques. I don't really need new plaques. Nah, big rock with the suplex. Yeah, new rock got a new flex. Yeah, I'm current, I'm a new trend. Knock boys with the full scent. Yeah, like I said, no new friends. We don't really need new friends.
Good thing, yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag. Couple hundred need a G-Wagon. Big tax on my big spending. Big facts, no pretending. We back on the full sense. That good thing, yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag. Couple hundred need a G-Wagon. Big tax on my big spending. Big facts, no pretending. We back on the full sense.
This is that one song that you heard so many times, and every time you hear it, you're like, I'm not gonna bump to this song. But then you start catching a vibe. I'm sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Love with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Love with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Love with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Love with the gang gang, you know.
Yeah, whoa, East Coast with that gang gang. You know we don't play games, whoa. Hop up on that wagon, oh please just get out the way. You know we stay stuntin', right up in your face. We sorry, not sorry, we just stuck up in our ways. West Coast, go ahead, stand up. Put that glass and hands up. Gang, we famed up. Got that change, we bagged up. True love, we stay manned up. Ahem like I'm wheezy, yeah. Rap game just too easy, Drip so sick, I'm queasy, whoa.
East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Love with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Love with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Love with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Love with the gang gang.
Yeah. Watch me finesse, walk to the line. Good versus evil, God in his prime. Always in prime, always on time. Our time to shine, wifey is fine. I'm doing fine, glad that you asked. God fill me up, mud in my glass. God clean me up, all that I ask. Wherever you headed there fast. I am ahead, you are in last. Last time I checked, you were all gas. Gas in the whip it up fast. Fast and all furious, I'm starting to spaz. Getting all curious, you put me on blast. Blasting that Darius, kids in the back. Back to the future is black. Black like T'Challa, Wakanda attack.
East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Love with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Love with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Love with the gang gang, you know
Yeah, we ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped, sitting high up on the stone. Put my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah, we ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped, sitting high up on the stone. Put my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah, glowing up, but we still trapped. That's how a nigga survives. Flowing out, got the crowd packed. Yeah, that's how a nigga provides. Y'all insta this, y'all snap that, y'all diss this, and they snap back. Another mass shooting in the headlines. I'm like, damn, where that attack at? Cause y'all think this about race. They font that shit in your face. It's like every day it's the same agenda. It's really not that hard to trace. Fuck it, we might as well face it. Accept it, whatever it's wrapped in. There'll come a day when they run out of grace. So me and my niggas stay trapping. Yeah, ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped, sitting high up on the stone. Put my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Hey, someone be too who I wanted to be and then what I became. Ended up going my own way, but I couldn't stay in my lane. Now if I'm honest, I've taken a liking to wearing these chains. They hold me down, make it easier when I start feeling the pain. Out of the overflow, your heart, they say your mouth speaks. Well, my heart must be fucked up, cause I can't speak and I can't sleep. So I stay woke in this daydream. Got shit to do, got the world to see. Got the same crew, got some new fleets. There's an empire, fuck a boutique, that's real. I only say what I feel, got a new plate with the same meal. On a new hype with the same chill. Y'all too fake, I stay real. Got cast down from heaven, but I'm too good to stay in hell. I don't know where the story ends, but I keep writing like, oh well, oh well. Yeah, I keep writing like, oh well, oh well. Yeah, hey, I don't know where the story ends, but I keep writing like, oh well, oh well. Yeah, we ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped, sitting high up on the stone. Put my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah, we ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped, sitting high up on the stone. Put my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah. She call me Captain, but I got no cap. I make this money, it comes out on tap. Tryna stay private, but I got them groupies. Owe me in private, but don't get all choosy. Bust out the bubble and in with the new me. FTLOG on the top with the blue G's. Y'all got the diamonds and I got the rubies. I got the rubies, I got the rubies. She call me Captain, but I got no cap. I make this money, it comes out on tap. Tryna stay humble, but I get real moody. Try not to stumble, but she a real cutie. Bust out the bubble and in with the newbie. FTLOG on the top with the blue G's. Y'all got the diamonds and I got the rubies. I got the rubies, I got the rubies.
He's heating up! He's heating up! He's on fire!
No medication except my fucking antidepressants.
I fart in your general direction!
Swole Norman.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testicles. Welcome, everyone, to episode 3302 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleevescast, and Slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What's going on, beaches, booshes? Busses, hustlers, and your hoes. It's your boy Papa Swolio back with another episode. In today's episode, the Beastcast is brought to you, is sponsored by Everest and K2, flexing on all you beaches.
It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer. The fucking Catalina.
All right, fam, welcome to the show, 3302, Wednesday, May the 20th. Thanks for being here. Hit the like button, subscribe live on Rumble and YouTube at The Daily Swole. Before we get into today's episode, I want to remind all of you that tomorrow at 9:30 a.m., our live stream is exclusive for members only. It's a private Rise and Swole roundtable tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 9:30 to 10:30. So be there. It's going to be a fun way to start the day. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. The link is on your homepage in the Swolenormous app. If you're not a member, you will miss out on tomorrow's call. Don't miss out. Get your bone broth, get your coffee, get your tea. Start the day with the Swole fam tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Only for members, swolenormousx.com. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Now let's get on into that tip. Babe, just an inch. It's cold outside. All right, so let's get into a couple Swole fam posts. We will take some questions in a few, so you can start dropping some in the comments down below. But get some Swole fam posts first. We got one from the app from Abby. So let's kick it off with Abby's post. Hey, Papa Swolio, thank you for asking my question on the show on 5/19, which was on Monday, about a split for someone with 5 days per week available. I couldn't make it live, so I wanted to follow up here. I like your idea to go with total body every other day or the upper lower option. I will do one of those. My follow-up questions are A, how to make this work with limited time, which is 45 minutes per day. Is that enough on the strength days? And number 2, how to add in the cardio with the least impact to my lower body strength. I plan to do VO2 max training with the Norwegian 4x4, which is basically a warm-up run followed by 4 minutes fast running plus 3 minutes of walking, then repeat, and a cool down. So it's about 45 to 50 minutes of running. If I did that between total body workout days, I don't think I would be able to recover. Note, I have reduced my cardio a lot since starting the 90-day dash to prioritize my recovery and strength training and feel so much better overall. Trying to figure out how to add in one cardio day while keeping my recovery high. Thank you. Well, that's a great question and some great follow-up. So thank you for doing that, Abby. How to make it work with limited time. You might have a hard time doing 45 minutes for a full body workout. Really, you might have a tough time doing that in terms of resting enough between the working sets. If you're doing full body every other day, you're probably doing one, at the most 2 sets for a body part, because recovery is going to be a challenge if you're training intensely and doing it properly. But you can do it. You're just going to have to combine more exercises. For example, if you're doing full body, you might want to opt for more compound movements rather than just doing a bunch of isolation. So I would really narrow down what areas of your body that you're trying to focus on the most. If you're trying to do full body, you'll have an easier time for 45 minutes doing upper lower. But again, your exercise selection, your pacing, and setup times for exercises, depending on what your gym or how you're training, where you're training, you just need to make sure you're being time efficient, because you don't want to rush the recovery periods between sets. So you want to make sure that you have exercise selections that are going to hit more of those body parts, so you can follow up with some of those specifics. For me, when I'm doing full body, I did full body yesterday, and I start a timer. I don't really care how long it takes, but it usually will take me about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And the reason is because I'm setting up exercises. I'm resting a long time between my warm-up set, between my all-out sets, and I'm not rushing, so I'm taking plenty of time, maybe 3 or 4 minutes before working sets or between working sets. So usually that's going to take longer, because if you're doing full body, you're doing more exercises, but it doesn't have to be that long, because I'm also doing some I'm doing some unilateral exercise. So some of those exercises were left leg, left arm, right arm type of thing. So that would take a little bit longer than if you're doing bilateral work. For example, yesterday's workout for me, I did single leg extensions. I did single arm triceps extensions, single arm lateral raise. I did single arm pec deck. So that could have been all shorter if I combined it and did bilateral. I just don't. It doesn't matter for me, the overall time. So if you're trying to keep it within 45 minutes, you definitely will want to avoid doing single arm or single leg and try to get, a little bit more of a compound approach so you can hit more body parts. So that's really going to depend on your setup and what body parts you're trying to focus on. How to add in the cardio with the least impact. So whatever that is, Norwegian 4x4, it's just interval, which is fine. 4 minutes of fast running. I really don't think that's going to be effective for you, to be honest. And like you said, it's going to be very fatiguing. That's 45 to 50 minutes of running. That's a lot. And if you're doing 4 minutes, let me be honest with you, you're not doing fast running. Okay. If you're going all out, 4 minutes is too long. So you're doing like a fast jog. Okay. Unless you're some elite marathon runner, you're not doing like a full out 4 minute sprint. That's kind of ridiculous. So if you're doing cardio, I would recommend doing something where you might be shortening the intervals, where you're doing 30 seconds of all out and then doing like a 3 minutes walk or something like that, doing more of a higher ratio, like a 1-to-5 or something like that, rather than doing 4 minutes of fast running. You're just going to be jogging. Okay. So you can reduce the fatigue and reduce the overall time. And you're going to have to figure out if you're recovering enough. Maybe you want to do some of that after your workout and take a complete day off. That might be an option for you. Because remember, any kind of cardio, any type of activity is going to eat into your fatigue. And if you're doing something intense on a recovery day, then it's not a recovery day, is it? And it's going to negatively affect your training. And I agree with you. You're going to start burning the candle down and you're going to start getting that kind of central nervous system fatigue. So you might want to do it at the end of your weight training on the same day, or shorten that up and see how you go. I would just personally never do 4 minutes of fast running, because that's really not fast running. You're going to be jogging. So you can also change that to doing 30 seconds or a minute and then doing your 3 minutes and doing that a couple times. So that'll shorten it overall. Just something to keep in mind, because there's nothing wrong with cardiovascular training. And of course, VO2 max is important. Muscle mass is important, and VO2 max is important. But that just doesn't seem to be the most effective way for you to approach, just because if you're focusing on your training and you want to make sure that you're building muscle, that's going to be very fatiguing for you, like you mentioned. So good stuff. Sounds like you're in the right direction. And again, you're going to have to figure out what works best for you and how you are able to recover. Because remember, something that works for a week or two doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate and you're going to be able to recover and it's going to work in week 3, 4, or 5. So you want to try to figure out a programming that you don't have to pull back from, that you don't have to deload, and you don't have to decrease that stimulus. You want to make sure you are able to maintain a stimulus long term and something that you can recover from. So keep that in mind. And when it comes to that type of intense cardio training, less is more, and start there. It's better to do less and then increase if you're able to, rather than do too much and burn out and then have to go back to the drawing board and take a week or two off because you burn yourself to the ground. So I would do less with that. I personally would never do 4 minutes of fast running, because it's just really nowhere close to your max intensity, and you're just going to be really draining yourself from that. So keep that in mind. I would do shorter sprint intervals, and maybe if you do, let's say 30 seconds and then 3 minutes and start there, you're getting like a minute, 2 minutes of all out, but you're going much more intense, and you're going to save a lot of time overall. And it might be something you can add on to the end of your workout. But if you only have 45 minutes at the gym, obviously you want to focus on your strength training. So really depends. But if you're going to the gym 5 days a week and you're doing upper lower, that leaves you an extra day. And you don't have to do crazy cardio all the time. Maybe you do 2 days a week. So you do upper lower and you do 2 days a week of cardio. But again, it depends on if you're recovering. So if you don't see your numbers going up, if you're drained for your lifting, then you have to adjust your cardio accordingly. So it's going to have to be very individualized. But those are some of the things that I see on the horizon. So you guys could drop your thoughts in the comments. Daniel, what up, fam? It's been a rough couple of weeks for me. First 2 weeks ago, I broke my big toe and fractured a bone in my right foot, and now I'm wearing a boot for a few more weeks. 6 days after that happened, I was rear-ended on the highway, and my back and neck are feeling jacked up. I already have 8 screws and 2 rods in my neck, so that's a little scary. Needless to say, my training hasn't exactly been intense the past couple of weeks, mostly swolga and mobility. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That's definitely stressful, but at least you've been staying consistent. So your nutrition, sleep needs to be the best that you can do. Swolga, mobility, sauna if you can do it. And we hope to get you back on the gain train soon. But remember, patience is everything. And just because you're not intensely lifting doesn't mean that it gives you the freebie to trash your body and to avoid all the other things. So sometimes you might have some physical setbacks, but then of course the mental aspect has to be locked in. So this is just look at this as a training exercise. This is life throwing a challenge your way, and you have to be grateful for it and then attack it and just do the best that you can. But we're here for you. So thanks for keeping us posted. LET says sprint intervals are fantastic. I add those to my non-lifting days. Hashtag Live Swole. Oh yeah, Live Swole. So hashtag Live Swole members. You guys know the Swole card because I sent you the text, and of course the camera is not set up right now, and getting a little lazy with it. It's just easy to hold up the card. Live Swole. We'll get that set up eventually. Hashtag Live Swole. We'll give that away at the end of today's episode. How do you guys filter in your cardio? I mean, if you're doing reverse sled, battle ropes, I have a Versa Climber, reverse sled, like I said, kettlebell stuff. You can grab a light kettlebell and do, 200 kettlebell swings and do sets of 50 and get your heart rate up. So cardio can come in many different ways, but when you're doing intense like VO2 max stuff, again, it's lifting. It's heavy lifting, but it's for your heart. So you have to think about this in terms of systemic recovery and systemic fatigue. Just because you're not lifting weights, it's still stress on your central nervous system. So if you're doing intense cardio, it's very draining, just like heavy lifting is. Okay. So you have to understand it's one body. You have one body, you have one mind, one heart, 2 lungs. You got your organs. It's the same kind of stress on your physiology. You're pushing yourself to your limit in a different manner than you are with heavy lifting. So you have to keep that in mind in terms of your overall programming. So never want to add too much. It's like, hey, I've never taken this supplement before. Hey, I've never taken creatine before. Let me take 50 grams a day. It's like, yeah, not only do you not need 50 grams a day, but if you're starting something new, or magnesium, I've never taken magnesium glycinate before. Don't be like Cerny and start taking 3 or 5 grams a day. Take 250, see how you feel. Then take 250 twice a day, spread it out, ease into it. And then if you want to add more, add a little bit more over time and see if more benefits you. Because with supplements, with training, we know that more isn't necessarily better. So you have to figure out what you need, especially with supplements, nutrition, right? You have to gauge that based on your nutrition, your body's individual needs, and things like that, because everyone eats a little bit differently, and you might not need as much of a supplement as someone else, and some of you might need more. Okay. We got 2 more. We got responses to a couple emails. If you're not on the email list, go to makeemailswoleagain.com. This one's responding to the email, but it's Saturday. Jay Malik says, exactly right. I'm a better person, husband, and father because I honor this commitment to fitness. Exactly. And we always talk about that when it comes to dad bods. And if you have kids, it's not just for you. You're not just training for you. You're training for your future. You're training for your family. You're leading by example. Philip says, what's up? I did some chest tries and shoulders today. They all coincide. So why not? Exactly. Why not? Why not? Why not? Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. All right. Let's get into some questions. We'll get into some topics. Let's get some questions. Drop in the comments down below. Hashtag Ask Papa Swolio. Let's jump into it. If you don't know, we have a awesome 20% off the entire site over at papaswolio.com. Today, I am rocking the Swole Gumby design, and we recently dropped a couple other designs. We recently dropped, let's see what we got here. What did we recently drop on the site? What was this week's drop? This week's drop was, the last one was Gym Busters. Well, that's not true. What did we just drop? We just dropped a new design. Let's see. We just dropped the Fuck Your Feelings. Is it on the site or did I not reload it? Maybe I didn't reload the page. That's possible. The new design isn't there? Oh, I'm pissed. All right, so we got Fuck Your Feelings. Maybe it's not available on the site. That should have been there 2 days ago. So I'm not happy with that, but maybe it's available in search. But anyway, Fuck Your Feelings. Got some brand new merch over there, papaswole.com. Check it out. All right, let's get into some questions. We'll move on. Let's see. We'll start off with
What's in the box?
Rocco Jorge Papasuolio. Can we do CrossFit or we only can go to the gym? You need to be doing the training that is going to get you the results that you want. And what might be shocking to a lot of people is that CrossFit is not designed to get you, build you muscle and to get you in better shape. I mean, it really isn't. It's the adaptations are random. The exercise selection is random, high impact, high risk. I'm not saying you can't get results. I'm not saying people don't like it. It's group exercise. There's a different energy, this, that, and the other. But obviously it keeps physical therapists and chiropractors in business. So you can do CrossFit, but you have to be realistic about what the outcomes are going to be. If you want to build muscle, you're better off doing a quality strength training program and adding in mobility and doing something that is long-term sustainable and not just random slews of exercise that are high risk. So it's really important not just to create a stimulus, but also to reduce your risk of injury. And when you are training regularly and you're pushing yourself close to that limit, that becomes a much greater risk. So programming is very, very important and recovery is absolutely essential. All right. Daniel Smith, 1992. Is intermittent fasting bad if you still hit your macro targets during the day? Well, macros are bullshit. That's the biggest overblown nonsense. People are worried about their macros. They're worried about intermittent fasting and they're still eating garbage. So it comes down to food quality. If you're not eating quality foods, I don't care about your macros. I don't care if you choose to eat once, twice, or thrice a day or do fasting. You need to focus on quality ingredients. And most of the issues that people have are because of the toxic environment, the toxic chemicals, the ultra processed foods, eating out of plastic, microwaving your foods. There's a lot of issues with the quality of the food and the way people live their lives. So stop worrying about those types of details and bussing out your scales and weighing your steak and all that bullshit. Focus on protein, focus on quality fats and carbohydrates. But if you haven't done an elimination diet, if you're not focusing on quality, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. If you're eating quality foods, you're going to have those satiety mechanisms checking off. You're going to feel full when you're actually full. And most of the issues that people have, they feel bloated, they store extra water, they put on extra body fat. It's because they're not getting full. It's because of the toxins in their body. It's jacking up their endocrine function and all these other issues. So if you focus on quality foods, all these other issues solve themselves. So I don't really care about macro targets, especially if you're eating McDonald's. So stop worrying about things that don't matter and focus on the quality of foods. Krusika Yumura Papasuolio. What should I do first when step into the gym for a beginner? Please guide me. Join us over at swolenormousx.com and download the Swolenormous app and start one of our programs. That's what you should do first. Do the 90-day dash program. Start off on primer week, and that's the best place to start for a beginner. Kimberly on Instagram. Drop your questions in the comments down below. We're live on Rumble and YouTube at The Daily Swole. How can I get ripped? By building muscle, getting sleep, eating quality food. If you want to get ripped, you have to build muscle. You can't get ripped and be fat. And skinny fat means you don't have muscle. Okie dokie. More questions. Drop in the comments. Hashtag Ask Papasuolio. Heinz McD. Papasuolio, do you have any kettlebell recommendations? I don't know if you mean actual kettlebells or recommendations for workouts. We have Swollen 7 kettlebell training. If you're trying to maximize muscle growth, then kettlebells are definitely not ideal for you. There's a lot of benefits for kettlebell training. They're great for mobility, great for cardio. And there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of benefits because you could do a lot of different exercise that you can't do as efficiently with dumbbells and bands and other things, they also don't take up a lot of space. So if you have an apartment or you just have your bedroom and you want to have a couple kettlebells in there, you could do a lot of different exercises without a lot of space. So in the interim, if you're really focusing on building muscle, but you don't have access to a gym or you want to train at home and you're trying to work on a lot of other things, kettlebell training might be great for you. But if you're trying to focus on putting on muscle, then you want to make sure you're actually accessing dumbbells, barbells, machines, and you're training with the proper hypertrophy training program. But again, kettlebells are great. You can build a lot of strength, you can build power, you can improve your mobility tremendously. There's a lot of great exercise that are better to do with kettlebells, like windmills and different things like that. And of course, you can use kettlebells for certain hypertrophy exercises. But, in terms of where you purchase your kettlebells, there's a couple good ones. Kettlebell Kings is good. Rogue makes good kettlebells. There's a lot of good brands out there. I would recommend using the hard style, not the competition kettlebells. And there's a lot of benefits. But again, it's a tool. So if you have an auto shop or you have a toolbox, you have a lot of different tools. You're not going to use them for every different thing. So you have a tool that will accomplish a certain task, and kettlebells are just like that. So if you're trying to optimize muscle growth, you want to do other things, but there are benefits to kettlebells. Super Taco, the absolute best forearm workout. Switch hands when you're beaten off. That's a great way to train your forearms. There's a bunch of great forearm exercise. You get a wrist roller. That's fantastic. Forearms are going to be trained like anything else, progressive overload. A couple really good exercises are with a cable, like reverse extensions, pronations. You want to make sure you're getting your pronator. Another really good one is reverse curls. So you could do that with a cable. You could do it with a cable. You could do it with a cuff. You could do reverse preacher curl, hitting the brachioradialis, very important. It's the muscle right here on top. If you want to get big forearms, that muscle is very important, and that's an elbow flexor. And you'll get that more with hammer curls, even more so with reverse curls. And reverse preacher curl with an easy curl bar is a great way to do that. You could also use standing and do cable. And palm presses are fantastic too. When your hands are on a bench or on the floor and you're pushing your wrists up onto the phalanges on your hands. Hard to explain, but that's a really good one for wrist curls. You could also do it with a dumbbell. You could do it with a cable. There's a bunch of different ways. Some of them are harder to load and to stabilize as you get stronger. But wrist rollers are great. Harder to load. You want to stand up. You don't want to be holding it out because then you're just getting a shoulder workout. So some of these exercises might be harder to load as you get stronger, but you want to make sure you're working all aspects of your forearms. So brachioradialis, reverse curls, wrist extensions, wrist flexions, and pronation. And that's going to be the best way. And I usually do one set of each of those. I'll do 4 sets for my forearms, 1 for each of those, and I'll do them every other day, or at least 2 or 3 times a week. Jeremy, best way to recover from the gym while working a high-demand physical labor job. Train first, do it first in the day, and get your quality sleep and proper nutrition. And do a program like Maximum Swole where you're maximizing intensity and minimizing fatigue. All right, Storm Machine 97 on Rumble. Papa Swole, what's your preferred way of going heavy on 45-degree hypers? Barbell, dumbbells, or holding a plate to your chest? I wouldn't hold a plate to my chest. That's just not really effective. 45-degree hypers, I will do, if I'm training my glutes, I will do a band. Band is an easy way to set up. I have hooks on my 45-degree hyper, so I can just load up with a band, and that's great for the glutes. A barbell is great too, if you have the space for it, and you have a 45-degree hyper that can handle it. Dumbbells are also good too. You can use your wrist wraps and use a barbell or dumbbells, or a kettlebell too. Sometimes kettlebells, when you start going really heavy, it's not effective just because the kettlebell gets larger and you can't get the same range of motion. So it depends on what you're trying to focus on. Bands for glutes and dumbbell or barbell for more hamstring for the hip hinge. I wouldn't hold a plate to my chest just because it's not enough weight. All right, Wall 11 on Instagram. Papa Swole, are liver pills just as beneficial as raw beef liver? No, but it's maybe one of the next best things. So nothing is going to be It's not going to be close to as beneficial as the real thing, but it is close. It is close. So if you don't have access to it or you're not going to eat it, then it might be something. It depends on the quality of the actual product, but it's definitely not as beneficial. If you want to check out all the merch, we got 20% off, papaswolio.com, link in the bio. Keto with Mickey on Instagram, Papa Swolio. How do you work out when you're sick or if you have a sinus infection? You don't train. If you're compromised and you're sick, one, you're not going to be an asshole and get everyone else sick, but your body is also recovering and repairing. So beating yourself up when you're already compromised, you always have these viruses and bacteria all around your body and inside your body. And really, when you get sick, it's because your immune function drops below the threshold where it can fight off these invaders that are always around. So you need to take better care of your health. Get more vitamin D, get out in the sun, supplement with vitamin D, get your magnesium, get your quality sleep, and recover. So don't beat yourself up if you're sick. The amount of questions I get, hey, when I feel like death, should I train? Of course not. How is this even a question? Mad EZ, what's your workout split? Full body, upper lower, or push pull legs? And I adjust between those. I was doing upper lower for a little bit, did full body yesterday, and I may or may not do full body tomorrow, or I might go back to an upper lower split or a push pull legs. I'll just kind of adjust between that based on my schedule and based on what I feel. But I did full body yesterday, and it was great. It was great. I really like the every other day approach, and then either doing upper, lower, or full body, depending on how I feel. So I can kind of go back and forth. So I was doing upper, lower every other day. I took 2 days off after my last session and just decided to do full body rather than just go do lower yesterday. And it's because I felt like it. I felt like doing full body. So I could have done lower. I decided to do full body. Really like it. I really like it. Troy Buff, Papa Soy, is there a better alternative to butter? No. I mean, raw butter is raw grass-fed and finished butter. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. So better is not really the term. You mean, is there a different, depends on what you're doing. If you're cooking, cook with tallow or ghee. Tallow, ghee, butter. And then a distant second is coconut oil. Not necessarily distant second, but I wouldn't do anything. Only those. That's the only things I would use to cook. Would be butter, tallow, ghee, or I don't use ghee, I use butter and tallow. And if you want to use coconut oil, that would be another option, but you want to avoid avocado oil and olive oil and stuff when you're cooking. They burn easily and a lot of times they're rancid, so you want to make sure you're getting... Even if you're cooking chicken, cooking it in beef tallow will make it taste better because chicken has no fucking flavor. It's a weak bird. Put some beef on it. Put some beef and fat on it. Let's go.
The little rascal has spirit.
Cooking with tallow is the best. Cooking with tallow is the best. User 1157. How do I stop gooning? Why would you stop? The whole point of gooning is to never stop. Edge it to the limit. There we go. Here we go. We got the new merch on the site right there. Shooting Star. Fuck your feelings. Go check it out now. papaswolio.com. There it is.
Hadouken! Hadouken! Hadouken!
There it is. Now we got it. Now we got it there. Brand new merch drop. That's a beauty. That's a beauty. Were you guys able to purchase it? If not, you can get it today. You can get it today. You'll be the first one because maybe it wasn't up yet. I don't know why it wasn't up. What's wrong with Ozempic? Well, if you want to lose muscle mass and paralyze your stomach and go blind, might be a good option for you. Don't take experimental drugs. Can you guys stop? Can you guys stop like poisoning your body? Why are you guys trying to take why are you trying to take every last thing that these pharmaceutical companies are pumping into you? I can't wait for the class action lawsuit against these companies. Man, people are exchanging their future for a few pounds of weight loss today. Yikes. Yikes. And of course, anyone that takes it, just like the experimental gene therapy and the mRNA garbage. Everyone wants to pretend like, oh, well, it's good. You defend something because you took it and you feel guilty and you know you shouldn't have just suckled at the government authoritarian teat. Well, my recommendation for you is to realize that all these pharmaceuticals, none of them have real long-term data. What, 10 years? Okay, cool. 5 years? Not with this many people taking it. They're passing it out like Tic Tacs. It is going to be nasty. We've seen all the turbo cancers and all the issues people have in general. So just add more shit to the mix and you have no idea what's going on inside your body. Stop taking this garbage. Stop taking this garbage. People ask about it all the time, so I'll keep on calling it garbage because that's what it is. Stop making excuses. Stop stapling your stomach, taking these experimental injections. Change your habits. Trust me, your future self will thank you. You'll never regret not taking these things. You're never going to regret not taking it. Okay. Yeah, someone in the chat's mentioning Sharon Osbourne. She looks like death. She says she can't gain weight after overdoing Ozempic. She's skin and bones. Yeah, I mean, if you overdo these things, that's going to be the extreme example. But we're going to have a lot of people. Look, women are more susceptible to things like osteoporosis anyway. And bone density, you lose skeletal muscle, you lose bone density. And people are also eating like shit when they're taking these things. So it's not like you take this and 2 months later, oh my God, I have all these issues. But 5, 10, 15 years down the road, bro, life is long. It's short if you trash your body, but it's long. And you don't want to live with these conditions. You don't want to live with these side effects for the rest of your life. Just take those fundamental positive changes now. Yeah, it's slow and steady. It takes time, but you're not going to regret not taking it, right? You're not going to regret not taking experimental gene therapy. The people that regret are the ones that just blindly took these things or felt like they were forced to. Hey, it's not always an easy decision, but you got to live with the consequences and you have to be objective and be realistic about what's in your body. Ticking time bombs for sure. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Let's take some more questions. We'll take some more topics. Drop in the comments down below. Hashtag Ask Papa Swolio. Let's see. Store Machine, cooking with tallow on some cast iron is what I prefer. Ghee makes it taste weird. Yeah, it's clarified butter. It does taste a little bit or smell a little bit different. I've tried it before. I don't use it, but if you have issues with butter, you can get grass-fed and finished ghee, and you can order that on Amazon. You can order tallow on Amazon too. Get it for local farmers markets and such like that. All right. What protein bars do you recommend? I don't recommend protein bars. Eat real food. Eat real food. Everyone's looking for an easy fix or something lazy. Take it out of a box, take it out of a package. And yeah, some might be better than others, but it's not going to be better than steak or eggs or real food. Basil, has the price of eggs gone down where you live? I don't really look at the price of eggs. We get them from a local farmer's market. So I've always been buying pastured and fresh eggs. So it's always been more than what you would buy, maybe, low quality eggs at the store. So if you've been buying high quality eggs, the price was always more than other ones. So, for me, it doesn't really matter what the price of eggs are. I'm going to pay it, or get your own chickens. But if you're getting it from a local farmer's market, you're going to find better prices anyway. Most of the excessively priced eggs are from those mass produced when didn't they slaughter millions of chickens from that bird flu bullshit? Anyway, so if you're eating quality eggs already, you probably didn't notice any of the price fluctuations. I didn't. Buy chickens. Yes, indeed. They give you eggs. They give you eggs. They just give it to you. They're like, hey, you want to eat really healthy? Take this out of my butt. Eat some chicken periods. Make some gains. All right, Store Machine. It's surprising what you can find at some places. I got milk at Walmart the other day, and they have good grass-fed and finished ground beef. 2 at least. My Walmart, $5.60 per pound. Yeah, I don't shop at Walmart. But that's good. I've heard overall that egg prices have come down. But again, Support your local farms. There are a lot of farmers markets. You just got to look it up, Google them, and they'll bring farm fresh eggs from around the area. And a lot of these farmers markets, you'll be able to access foods that you won't find in local stores. So you might be able to find raw milk. You go to realmilk.com, you'll find farmers markets and stores and local places in your area. Hopefully, I guess not every area, but you'll find it. It'll tell you where you could buy raw milk in your area. What is my max bench? I don't max bench. That's a question from like 2002. What's your max, bro? I don't do barbell bench. I've gotten much better results by not doing barbell bench. I like machines for chest, pec deck, Smith machine. I have a bunch of good chest machines. Lately, I've been doing a lot more single arm pec deck and stuff like that, and incline pec flies with cables. And it really depends on your programming. So if you're trying to isolate body parts more or minimize fatigue, you might not even want to do pressing movements. So pressing movements are not required to develop your chest, and it can be a great way to bring up lagging body parts. So it's essentially more like isolation for your chest. The same reason why a JM press will work your shoulders and your triceps, whereas just doing a triceps extension obviously isolates the triceps. Same thing when doing back exercise, you're getting some biceps in there, but doing a bicep curl is more isolation. So it really depends about your overall programming and what you're trying to bring up and what body parts might be lagging for you. Annie says, chicken feed prices have come down too. It's generally cheaper to raise chickens after the setup cost. Plus, it's fun. And plus, the chickens are going to eat spiders and things like that. We get the mango spiders around this time of year because you get the fruit trees going. So I want to put the chicken coop right under the mangoes. That way they're eating all the mango spiders. But if a mango falls in their chicken coop, they're going to eat my mangoes. Those fuckers eat everything. Chickens eat everything. But yeah, get a few chickens. You don't need a lot of space. We'll probably get like 5 or 6 chickens. Looking forward to doing that too. You got to keep them safe though. You get raccoons, you get all sorts of other things that we have some cats, cats in the neighborhood. So we're going to have to make sure that they're protected and covered. So they don't eat the chickens. One of our friends had a few chickens and I don't know what killed them, but I think she had like 4 chickens and it killed 3 of them. Whatever it was, I forget. Blue collar, my left arm is smaller. Any advice on how to make it more even? Train it first. Do unilateral exercise and train your weaker arm first. And then train your stronger arm right after with no rest and match the reps. So if you have a weaker side, it's a good idea to add in some unilateral work and prioritize that in your training and train it first. No, I don't eat hairy balls, but I eat bull milk. That's what my coffee is, with bull milk, so it's really high in protein. Salty, but it's really high in protein. High taxes, no incentive. Have you tried Romanian rows? That's where you sit on a bench and grab an old lady's purse, then you pull the purse away over and over like a tug of war. Romanian rows? I have a lot of comebacks and other better names for that, but I'll leave it there. 13% rows. I think those are called 13% rows. In the United States, is what we call them. Jarella says, I grew up around chickens and my mother-in-law used to keep chickens. I'm not raising them shits until I have to. Don't like them? Jarella doesn't like chickens? They're nasty. They'll eat anything. Got to keep Pinkston away from the chickens. They're going to eat her. That's right. That's right. Indeed. Indeed. Yeah, there's different bars for bench. So you can get one of those curved bars. You can get one of those bars with neutral grips and stuff. I have those too. But again, when it comes down to stability, I'd prefer, if I was doing a barbell, the closest thing I do to a barbell bench is just on my Smith machine. And I haven't done Smith machine chest presses in a while. Lately, I've just been doing flies. I've been focusing more on flies. It's less fatiguing. So for example, if I'm doing a single arm pec deck, I really like it. And it's much less exhausting. It targets my chest rather than adding 5 or 6 plates to like a heavy pressing movement that's working my shoulders, working my triceps. So I'm also doing my shoulders and triceps and other exercises. So there's no need to do the compound movement and then isolate. But if I'm doing an upper body workout or a full body, I try to minimize the fatigue by not doing tons of compound movements because it could be more exhausting. So if I'm doing a pressing movement, I'll choose one. So I'll do either a shoulder press. If I'm doing a press, I'll do a shoulder press, I'll do a chest press, or I'll do a JM press. I'm not going to do all three. So if I'm doing a JM press, I'll do flies and lateral raises. If I'm doing a shoulder press, I'll do flies and triceps extensions with a cable. So I'm not going to be over pressing in my training just so I can isolate more and minimize the overlap. If you're trying to make more gains and minimize fatigue, what most people should be focused on is redundancy in your training. So if you don't have a lot of time, you're trying to combine different body parts, then pick certain compound movements and load them effectively. That way you're getting the most bang for your buck. You don't need tons of variety, but as you get more advanced, you're probably going to find that you want to isolate more, which is totally fine. But the problem is the things that people choose, they'll go and they'll do a chest press. They'll do a flat press, then they'll do an incline press, then they'll do a shoulder press, then they're doing a JM press or dips. And it's like, you're just doing the same thing over and over again. You're just kind of beating a dead horse. You're better off swapping it out, rotating certain exercises. That way you're not getting as much overlap. Love the shirt. Thank you very much. If you want to pick up the new merch, check out the brand new Swole Gumby. We dropped that like a month ago. That seems like more of a newer release than it was. We drop new designs every week over at papasoyo.com. So that was like a month ago. So the latest designs were Swole Gumby, Not R-Tarded. We have They Do Lift in Herds, Pumpachoo, Gym Busters, and the Fuck Your Feelings Shooting Star design, the more you know. Great stuff. Storm Machine. Papa Soul, you mentioned yesterday you have a special concoction you make with tea and collagen and other stuff. What is it you drink before bed? Chamomile, raw honey, collagen, glutamine, magnesium. That's the foundation of it. Maybe a little salt, maybe 1 or 2 other things that I put in it, but mostly collagen, magnesium, and chamomile tea. That's a great start. And the honey. That's like the foundation. Reading books is good. I read every day. Basil, what's a bigger scam, interest or taxation? What kind of interest? Well, it's all bullshit because you're getting your money debased. Every time they fucking send money to Israel or Ukraine, or they give people free money for being unproductive in society, it's just bleeding everyone to the ground. Social Security, all the entitlement benefits in this country are bleeding it dry. So taxation is theft, period. And interest isn't the problem. Interest isn't the problem. If you're borrowing money, it makes sense. But what it used to be, like if you borrow money from your father-in-law or a friend, let's say you borrow money, you could be a bank for someone else. It's like, hey, I'll give you $10,000. Like, okay, well, pay me back 11. Like over time. It's like that person deserves interest because they forwarded you money, right? So they benefit. You benefit by getting the capital. They benefit by making more long-term. The reason why interest rates are ridiculous is because you, me, all the plebs out there, we don't get the benefit of quality interest rates. We get 22% from credit cards. You take out a personal loan, you're paying 11, 13%. You're getting fucked. But the banks, they get to borrow at 3, 4, 5%. The Cantillon effect. So interest isn't the problem. The problem is competitive interest and the fact that we get screwed with interest rates because we're not able to borrow. It doesn't make sense. Banks aren't going to loan you $5,000 at like 4%. They don't make enough benefit. They're going to charge you 13% and they'd rather loan 50 million to South Africa or something like that, and then get bailed out by the Fed. So it's a whole circle jerk. The whole economic structure in this country and the world is a complete scam. I don't want to go too much down the rabbit hole. We got a lot of books in the Amazon store. You can learn about it, study Bitcoin, learn about uncorruptible money. It's just a whole big fucking scam. So, big scam. Fiat money is a Ponzi scheme. It's just one big Ponzi scheme. So if someone can print money, if someone can create more money out of thin air, it's not real money. Or it's a shitty, shitty money. You're just getting screwed. You're getting robbed. Keeping your money in fiat, you're getting robbed. That's why wealthy people, they have it all in real estate. And real estate's an inflated load of shit anyway, and it's a financial drain. Those assets are usually a burden. Lots of risk. Property taxes, insurance. Dealing with water mains and air conditioning breaking and tenants and this, that, and the other. There's a lot of garbage. People don't make as much money off their houses as they think. Plus, you can't, it's really hard to, it's not liquid. Now, of course, you could take out debt and do other sorts of leverage based on that, but it's a store of value that doesn't really exist for us nowadays. It did if you bought a house like in the 60s and 70s. And that's another reason why the boomers destroyed this country, but a whole other conversation entirely. Boomers like to blame the current generation. This generation doesn't understand hard work and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, you bought your house for like 50 grand and it's worth like 2.2 million. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? You can't, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You're buying a house today that's way overvalued with garbage insurance or garbage interest rates. And then what you're doing is your property taxes are going up 10% every year. You should see, look on Zillow, look at the increases in property taxes over the last 20 years. It's disgusting. And insurance. So it's not like, it's horrible. It's horrible. So you don't really own your house. So if you think you own your house, you don't. If you have to pay property taxes, you don't own it. If you have to pay taxes on something you own, imagine you buy a shirt, right? You have to pay taxes, right? Sales tax. Imagine every month, every year, you had to pay taxes on a shirt that you bought already. You go to papaswolio.com and you bought a shirt for, whatever, 20, 30 bucks. And then you have to pay like $1 a month to keep the shirt. That's what property taxes are. So you don't really own it. You don't really own it, so real estate's a scam too. The reason why these wealthy people hold it is because when you have millions and millions of dollars, you got to put it somewhere because it's just debasing. It's just, you're losing 10%, 20% a year. So they put it in these inflatable assets as a store of value. And then they take loans from it because you don't have to pay taxes on debt. And they take out debt and they buy another property and, it can snowball, but you need a ton of capital nowadays to even start that. It was a good idea maybe in the 80s and 90s or maybe right after the housing bubble if you had liquid, but most people got wiped out. But you don't own it. If you have to pay insurance on it, that's kind of the scam. You buy your car. You buy your car, let's say. I mean, I hate car payments, but you're paying insurance. So it's kind of like a property tax, right? Like being required to have car insurance, it's kind of like a tax on something you already bought. But people that float $1,000 car payments, like, you're insane. You're insane. You just need some wheels to get to work. So people throw so much money down the toilet. Basil, is the value going up or is the dollar becoming worth less? The dollar, you have to combine those two words. The dollar is becoming literally worthless. So Bitcoin is ripping. A lot of things are ripping. Bitcoin's almost at 110 all-time high right now, by the way. It's because if you invert the chart, Bitcoin's not going up, the dollar's going down. So people are fleeing fiat. They're fleeing the dollar into harder assets like gold and Bitcoin. And who the fuck wants to own a yellow rock? Worthless. So that's the deal. That's the deal. That's the deal. And of course, taxation is theft, fundamentally. We went to war and started our own country based on like a 3% T-tax. And now we're paying like 10, 15%. It's just ridiculous. And this is why they don't teach this stuff in school, because the people would revolt. So they teach you to be a wage slave. They teach you to comply and just go and smile and wave and, oh, I'll work my whole life and give you my stored human energy for no fucking reason. And then you pay into this bullshit Social Security. You'd be better off just even putting that into like the S&P index. But you pay into Social Security and then they give you a pittance when you're 65. And then you have to pay taxes on that shit. It's just evil. It's just an evil fucking scam. It's an evil scam. So this is why Bitcoin is the answer, because you cannot inflate the currency. You cannot inflate Bitcoin. You cannot make more. So people don't understand what finite supply means. The human mind can't understand exponential growth, and it can't fathom finite supply. You can mine more gold. They just created gold in the Hadron Collider. You can create more gold. Asteroids have multi-trillion-dollar deposits of gold once we can mine asteroids. It's just gold can be mined more. They could turn on the miners and find more gold. They find gold mines all the time. It's just harder to inflate the supply of gold. And it's artificially manipulated too. So anyway, remember, money is stored human energy. So if you have to you're giving someone your stored energy. If you keep cash in the bank, it's becoming more and more worthless every single day. Every single day. So if you look at, let's say, for example, Bitcoin, if you look at that and you say, oh, over the past year, it's gone up 60%. You know what that means? You know what that means? That means the dollar has decreased in value relative to Bitcoin 60% over the past year. 60%. That means if you had $10,000 in the bank, you have $4,000 of buying power left. It's mind-blowing. This is what happens when you print money. This is what happens when you hit Control P. And this is why people that have a triple-digit IQ that are pissed about sending all this money overseas to foreign wars and all these different conflicts, about reparations and these stupid things where people just want freebies and handouts and universal basic income, you're just destroying the country. This is why all of you, if you're married and you have kids, that's why you and your wife both have to have 2 jobs. That's why you have to outsource your parenting to the state, because you can't afford daycare because that's like $1,000 or $1,500 a month or whatever ridiculous stuff. So you have these libtard lunatics teaching your kids in school and brainwashing them. It's just destroying the family. And it's destroying future generations because you're not going to be able to acquire. It makes it much harder for people to acquire wealth to be able to pass down to future generations. It gets me pissed off. And people aren't pissed off enough because they don't fucking understand it. So I opt out. I'm just opt out of the system. Get the fuck out. Charles says, I don't understand anything about Bitcoin. We'll start learning. Check out the Amazon store. We've got a lot of great books. Start there. Start learning about Bitcoin and you'll learn about everything. You'll learn about international policy, trade policy. You'll learn about philosophy. You'll learn about a great book that recently came out by Lawrence Lepard is The Big Print. That's a great book. That's a great book to really get a more recent, it's a real easy read, and it's a great framework for what's going on right now. There's a lot of other great books, but that's a good read. The Bitcoin Standard's a good one. The Big Print's a good one. Price of Tomorrow by Jeff Booth is a good one. Broken Money is a good one. A lot of good books. Okay. So let's So if you want to look up, if you want to understand like real estate's being priced out. So if you look at, for example, Annie says I bought a house in 2018. If I didn't, I would have been priced out of the rental market. It's gone insane around here. Household income hasn't kept up. So I have my charts over here. So let's see, 2018, just for conversation. In 2018, let's see, average price in 2018 of Bitcoin, let's say around, it kind of dipped. Let's say around $6,000, $7,000. So let's say you bought a house. Let's see. Let me bring up a calculator. So let's say you bought a house for $500,000, right? So $500,000 divided by around 7,000. So in 2018, your house was worth about 70 Bitcoin. All right. Today, that house is worth less than 5 Bitcoin. So in 2018, 70 Bitcoin would buy a house. Now today, less than 5 would buy that $500,000 house. So the housing market is collapsing. Everything is going to zero relative to Bitcoin. I'm not saying literally zero, but that's the trend because Bitcoin has a hard supply. Yes, Bitcoin is it's the best savings technology ever created by humanity. You can buy things with it. There are a lot of, but you generally don't want to use it. It's a store of wealth. It's a store of value. And of course, it seems like you're late, but you're not. There are more and more loan options and things that are coming up online, and more institutions are holding Bitcoin, this, that, and the other, but people use it as a savings technology. Sure, you can use the Lightning Network, but I personally don't use it for buying coffee and things like that. I use it for storing my wealth. Jeff Booth is a great listen about BTC. Very, very knowledgeable dude. The Bitcoin books, well, there's a lot of them. If you want to learn about how Bitcoin actually works, Inventing Bitcoin is a really good by Jan Pritzker. It's a short book, but it's really good on explaining like how Bitcoin actually works in terms of the nodes and the network effects and the raffle and everything, how it actually works in terms of, making it a trustless system. So if you want to learn like the technicalities about that, the hash rate and all that kind of stuff, mining. If you want to learn about, you really want to learn about what money is. So, what did I just say? The Bitcoin Standard, Price of Tomorrow, and The Big Print are really good books. Another good one is Bitcoin, Hard Money You Can't Fuck With. I'm just thinking of ones off the top of my head. Broken Money, I think that's by Lynn Alden. That's a good one. High taxes, no incentive. You can also transport Bitcoin with you simply by memorizing a password, which means nobody can steal it from you. Yes, you can keep your seed phrase, your 12 or 24 word seed phrase in your head. I would recommend putting it on Steal. And there's also multi-sig. There's many different custodial options where you can use Casa or Unchained Capital. There's a few good companies out there. So again, the industry is expanding. The industry is expanding. And obviously, it's going to be something that continues to improve and become more mainstream in terms of lending options and leveraging your wealth. It's only been around for 14 years. This is why it's blowing people's minds. And it's just code. So it's free speech. Can't be censored. Yeah. if you want the simplest, lowest level concept of it, it's gold, but better. It's the positives of gold without the negatives. So gold is not as divisible. Gold is not as easy to transport. It's not as easy to verify. People underestimate the ability to verify whether or not gold is real. You buy a bar of gold, you have no fucking idea if it's real. You have to get it tested. You have to secure it. You need a safe. And if you have a lot of money, just having tons of gold under your bed is just ridiculous. And when shit hits the fan, it's like, who cares if you have a yellow rock? So people say, like, what happens if the internet goes out? What happens if the power goes out? Well, I don't want gold either. I want guns and bullets and water and food. So like if shit really hits the fan, like what happens if there's a solar flare and every computer disappears? Well, for one thing, a lot of people have this stuff, you boot up one node and you have everything recorded. But if shit really hits the fan where like the entire earth is burning, one, you're not concerned with money. You're concerned with just like food and water and survival. So if you use these like Armageddon type approaches, well, gold ain't going to help you either. You need to actually physically defend yourself. If shit hit like the literal fan, guess what you're going to be trading for food and water? 9mm bullets. And that's the thing. That's the scam. So Dorella says, we bought an old little starter home in 2008 and sold it for over twice we paid for it in 2022 and built a bigger house. But that's the thing. So you sold it for twice as much in 2022. But the problem is the dollar was debased far more than 100%. So the buying power decreased much more than what you were able to sell your house for. And the crazy thing is, like, you look at a house value, you buy a house, it doesn't increase in value. You think it does, right? Oh, I bought this house for 300. Now it's 600. It's the same house. It's the same house. Did you get more land? No. Did the house get newer? No, it needs a new roof. And the sewage line needs to get fixed. And, blah, 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 blah. The property taxes are up tremendously, right? So you're not actually gaining value. It's still decreasing in terms of purchasing power based on the devaluation of the currency, which is happening much faster. These are lagging indicators. So that's why the housing prices like shoot up. Like, wow, my house is more valuable. It's the same house. It's the same house. Like, there's nothing more valuable about it. The dollar is just more worthless. So it takes more dollars to purchase the same house. But then you have milk that goes from $2 to $9. It's like your purchasing power decreases. So bottom line, everything is collapsing relative to an asset that's absolutely scarce. And housing is not a scarce asset. There's millions and millions and millions and millions of acres of undeveloped land. So go down the rabbit hole. That's why it's called the rabbit hole for a reason. You really got to learn. You really got to learn. And my recommendation is to sign up for an exchange like River. That's a great app. There's a lot of great apps where you can purchase Bitcoin. Sign up for an app and put in $100 and then learn how to self-custody. And this is why I say, or put in $10. Like, buy a little bit and then learn what you have. A lot of people are just like looking at it and what is this? What is this? Once you buy it, you'll start to actually like, I have skin in the game. Let me learn a little bit more about what I bought. You don't have to go in and put like 100K in. Just buy $10 and then start learning about it. And as you learn more, you'll buy more and you start realizing that it's just the greatest savings technology ever created. Yeah, Strike is good. Strike's a good one. River's a good one. There are a bunch of good ones out there. But this is not financial advice. I'm just explaining about it, but you have to do your own research. So what I find is a lot of people need to get their foot in. They need to like experience, what I just buy. And the cool thing is, even though the price right now for a full Bitcoin, right, 100 million sats is, $110,000. You don't have to put in $110,000. Oh my God, the price is so high. Like, this is early. This thing's going to millions and millions and millions of dollars per coin. But you can buy $10 worth. Just over time, you're getting less Satoshis. You're getting less of it over time. So buy a little bit, buy $10, put in $20, and then start reading books and learning about it. And then you can make your other choices and adjustments over time. Annie says Tuttle Twins have a good book and curriculum series for teaching kids about free trade, which we don't have. We don't have free trade, by the way. I used it with my kids when they were in elementary school. Nice. Yeah, teach them about Austrian economics. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. But that's what I'm saying. Get your, put skin in the game. And this is very much like nutrition. Like when I talk to people, oh, go get sunlight. Eat some steak. Stop eating all this garbage. People are like, what? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Is my cholesterol going to go up? Oh my God, I can't just eat meat. Oh, what's that? People don't understand. They don't go to first principles. They don't understand like the fundamentals. So being in Bitcoin is the same thing as doing an elimination diet and making better lifestyle choices. It just blows people's minds and they'd rather keep their head in the sand and pretend like things are always going to be the way they once were. And this is why people stay broke, they stay fat, and they stay retarded. It is what it is. Most people are not. That's why I don't push this stuff anymore. You guys want to talk about it? You ask questions. I'll answer with any information that I have, but I don't push this stuff. I don't try to convince family members or people anymore. I've done that, and people made stupid decisions against my better advice. So it's like, whatever. Whatever. You don't want to go to the gym, don't go to the gym. You don't want to eat quality food, then you don't want to get sun, then don't get sun. Just don't complain to me when you have skin cancer and all these other fucking problems. No, I am not. Knight Rider says, man, I never knew you were into crypto and you are so on point with it. I am not into crypto. All that's garbage except for Bitcoin. So I do not shitcoin at all. Everything else is a Ponzi, centralized Ponzi scheme. Bitcoin's the only truth out there. So not into crypto. How dare you? How dare you?
How dare you?
Where'd you get the Gumby shirt? papaswolio.com. 20% off. I've been meaning to, we just haven't set it up. I was going to accept and turn on Bitcoin payments on papaswolio.com and, offer discounts for people that want to buy in Bitcoin. So if you guys are interested in that, maybe I'll get that going. But that's been something on the framework. You're a shitcoiner. Yeah. All right. You'll come around. Everyone has, a lot of people have, they got to go through that phase. Again, the issue before we move on is unit buys. People will look at other garbage coins like, well, that's 20 cents. That's going to go up more. If that's 20 cents and it goes up to $3, I'll make, but it's not going to. You're just exit liquidity for these kinds of VCs in Silicon Valley. They're just going to dump on you. These are people that launch these coins. It's all proof of stake. It's not proof of work. In other words, it just incentivizes. It's a centralization. So people print these fucking coins like it's nothing. And they just sell as, unknowing people. You're buying it at $1 and you're like, oh, it's going to go up. Well, they had it at 0.00004 cents and they just sell it all the time. That's why it never goes up, or they print more. So you don't want anything centralized, and everything else here is centralized. J60 says, still waiting on Tesla to re-enable Bitcoin payments. Yeah, it's interesting. People on X all the time are like, how does Elon not understand Bitcoin? And I say, like, I don't think he doesn't understand it. I just don't think he cares. I don't think he needs to care. If you have hundreds of billions of dollars, again, this is why some of the big dogs aren't like Warren Buffett. They're not like all in Bitcoin. It's like they have all their money elsewhere. And Elon has so much money. Like, even if Bitcoin goes to 1 million, like, he just can slide over 1 billion whenever he wants. Like, you don't need it. He doesn't need it. People that are already stupid wealthy don't need it. They will, but you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve. So it's just, if you already have $100 million, you're not scared that you're losing money. So it's really that approach. And also with these major investment companies and stuff, they have boards of directors. They're handling trillions of dollars of assets. You can't just dump all that into an asset. It'll just inflate the price like crazy. So these people are, there's a lot of checks and balances, SEC regulations and stuff. It takes a long time for these things to actually manifest. See, Chawl, so you can buy like $20 a week worth of Bitcoin? Absolutely. Yeah, it's called DCA, dollar cost averaging. So the best way to do it is to get one of these apps and automate it. So it automatically buys $20 a week or $10 a day. You can buy $10 a day. You can also smash buy and be like, hey, I sold it. Let's say I sold my kid is now 3 years old and I have this old baby stroller and you sold it on Facebook Marketplace for $50. You could take that $50 and then buy $50 of Bitcoin. So you can also just buy whenever you want, but you can set it up. And that's the best way to do it, is just to automatically, like if you have a set like paycheck and you have all your bills and everything and debts paid and you have $50 extra to whatever, it's like just have it $50 a month or $50 a week and just set it and forget it. But then you have to understand about self-custody because it's not your Bitcoin unless you actually hold the keys. So you have to learn about hardware wallets and stuff like that. Let's see. Dewey says, I know that same that same pain, Papa Swole. You and I are the same age, and I'm tired of telling my family to fix their shit and them not doing it. Had my folks listened to me about getting out of debt and investing 10 years ago, they'd be a lot better off today. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I have my little, you can't see it now. I moved it. It's lower than it was. I have like the Bitcoin ticker and stuff like that. And really, looking at the all-time high, it's exciting. Because on a day today where it's an all-time high in Bitcoin, that means anytime you've ever bought Bitcoin in its entire history, you're up. But it really is just a proxy for the dollar going down. Because if Bitcoin's going up in value, that just means relative to the dollar is collapsing relative to it. And they have to keep on printing money. And that's what Lawrence Lepard's book, The Big Print, is all about. It's like the way the country and the way everything is set up with the Federal Reserve and everything is that they have to keep on printing money. They have to print money. And I think we're in the middle of that big print. It just doesn't happen all at once, but it's these like catastrophes are happening all the time. Like the savings and loan crises in the 80s. And then you had the dot-com in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Then you had the 2008 bubble. Then you had COVID and they printed. It's just going more and more and more and more. So it's going to become more frequent and it's going to become larger in quantity. And we have such an aging population. So many people are looking for reparations and handouts and Social Security and all these entitlements. It's not sustainable, and people are having less kids. So it's really bad. It's really bad. And the reason why it's going up so much is because everything else is going down. So keeping money in like cash is it's bleeding out. It's bleeding out. If you look at any of the stats, let's say in a month, right? Just this is how it works. In a month, Bitcoin is up 25%. That means your dollar is worth 25% less. Whatever you had in the bank is worth 25% less relative to Bitcoin. So you lost 20%, 25% of spending power in the last month. If that doesn't blow your fucking mind, I don't know what does. So you have hidden taxes. These are hidden taxes. So your taxes might go up, your property taxes go up, but then it takes more dollars to buy your food. Like even I eat grass-fed finished beef and this and the other, all that's gone up. It's become much more expensive to buy food. Dollar by dollar, it goes up, it creeps up, it creeps up. And yeah, if you're a true Bitcoiner, you see the actual inflation and it's dramatic. It's dramatic. If you're saving in Bitcoin, it hasn't negatively affected you. It's benefited you. It's a lifeboat. It's a lifeboat because everything else is essentially a Ponzi scheme circle jerk. And it's fake. It's an illusion. None of this financial advice, by the way. None of it. I guess we'll stay on this because I could talk about this all day. I'm not an expert. I just study it all the time. This is what I do. I lift weights and it's the only thing that's actually truly interesting. Angel, would it be smarter to invest in gold instead of all these other options? I would never own gold. Bitcoin is far superior to gold. Gold just has a larger track record, and the resources or the paper gold and these other, this is why over time, after these Bitcoin ETFs and all these Bitcoin treasury companies that are popping up every couple days and MicroStrategy and this type of stuff, that's why those are doing very well. It's because all these pension funds and nation states and stuff, a lot of times they can't necessarily go into Bitcoin, but you have, like if you have your 401k, you can get exposure to Bitcoin. You can get into IBIT, you can get into strategy, you can get into these other Bitcoin treasury or ETFs, and it allows people to hold, they're not actually holding Bitcoin, but you're getting exposure to it in 401ks or Roths and things like that. So it allows people to purchase Bitcoin adjacent with money that's trapped in like a 401k and this, that, and the other. Because obviously you take that out early, you get penalized and this, that, and the other. But hopefully, I'm hoping the Trump administration does something with capital gains taxes and, you know, treats Bitcoin like money so you don't have to pay capital gains if you trade it for the dollar. Like that's what it should be. If you really want to send America into a golden age, you remove capital gains on Bitcoin and you'll blow the lid off. Mess says, I've been dollar cost averaging for years, $50 every 2 weeks. Yep. And guess what? That $50 every 2 weeks is much more than it was. So imagine if you kept that $50 every 2 weeks in cash, you'd have the buying power that's a fraction of what you have today. Cerny says, why do people invest in gold if Bitcoin is better? Gold's been around for thousands of years. Most people don't understand Bitcoin, and a lot of people are using things like Bitcoin treasury companies and ETFs, but they're not directly holding Bitcoin. They don't understand it. It's a different generation for people that understand, you know, cryptography and understand the internet and understand network effects. And you have to do a lot of research because it's redefining what money actually is. It's just the best form of money that's ever been created. And the same way with getting sunlight, people are afraid of getting sun as if like it's a bad thing. People are afraid of eating meat. Oh, is carnivore okay? Am I going to get sick if I only eat real food? Of course not. You're going to feel better than you ever have in your entire life. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So people have to figure this out on their own. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to walk right into being disease-ridden in the future and be like, I wish I started earlier. Yeah, you knew about it. You just didn't take action. This is why taking action and just getting involved a little bit, buying $10 in Bitcoin, you'll learn what you hold. You actually have incentive. You have skin in the game. And the people that make the money are not the ones that just sit there and constantly think and wait and wait and wait and wait. They start making little investments and then they learn more about it. And then as you learn more and as your conviction grows and you understand it more, you can make different decisions. I'm not telling you to make the decisions that I make. I'm not going to get into details about what I personally do, but once you have more information, you can make better decisions for your life. You have to make better decisions for your life and what helps you sleep at night. What helps me sleep at night is not having fiat and not having my money being stolen from me while I sleep. Like you're getting robbed while you sleep. You go to sleep and they pass some bill to send $50 billion to who the fuck knows. They just robbed you. You just got robbed. You might not see that the next day, but you're going to see it when prices go up and you go to buy a fucking new car. You go to buy a new Corolla and the new Corolla is like 35 grand or something insane. It's like an entry level basic piece of shit car and you're paying 35 grand for it. And then your interest rate sucks. So then you're paying $700 a month on a fucking economy car. Like it's lunacy. It's absolute lunacy. Tariffs are great. Everyone's complaining about these fucking tariffs. My God, tax the shit out of things that we make here in the United States. Incentivize. These are things, it's long-term gratification. You got to make changes that's going to incentivize growth in this country. So good. If we import something that we can't make in the United States, then you shouldn't tax it. You shouldn't tariff it. But if it's something that we can do here better and we should be making here, then yeah, tariff the fuck out of it. It'll bring manufacturing back to the United States. More prosperity for Americans. Nothing wrong with that. It just doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. Plus, it's negotiating tactics. And this is why most people are broke and stupid, is because they don't understand what business negotiations are about. It's savage, it's cutthroat, and things don't happen immediately. So there's usually a lagging indicator, like the M2 money supply. So how much money, how much liquid money, how much cash is in the system. And it's a lagging indicator. When they print money, it doesn't hit immediately. But Bitcoin tracks it very accurately. So if you look at the Bitcoin versus M2 money supply, it tracks to a T. And if you don't know, the M2 money supply is shooting to the roof and Bitcoin's tracking right up. So we're going to be going a lot higher from here. That's what's expected. And it takes time. It takes time. These things take time, and most people aren't patient. Humans are emotional and irrational, so they'll make garbage decisions based on how they feel in the moment. But once you learn, this is why educating yourself is important with fitness, important with training. It's important with Bitcoin. When you understand what you're doing and you understand why you're doing it and you understand the framework, the day-to-day fluctuations. When Bitcoin crashed to 78, that was an amazing buying opportunity. Like, that's when people should be buying more. Instead, they sell and like, oh my God, it's going down forever. It's like, bitch, I rode this from 70 down to like 15, buying the whole way down because you know what you're buying. It was the same value. It's even more. It's even a better investment now. And savings. Bitcoin's better at 108 than it is at 58. It's better at 200 than it is at 2. More network effects, more stability, more security, just everything ancillary and everything secondary and tertiary around Bitcoin just gets stronger and stronger as it expands and as it grows. And of course, it'll make less moves and less massive moves as it gets larger and larger because it takes much more capital to fluctuate the short-term price, but long-term, it's up and to the right. That's what happens with a scarce asset. It's infinitely finite. So there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever created by 2141, I believe it is. And that's why you see these kind of spikes every 4 years, because the Bitcoin mining reward decreases in half every 4 years. And that's what's called the halvening or the halving. And that cycle is slowly breaking over time just because of the growth. Angel, would increasing manufacturing in the U.S. make everything more expensive for the U.S. consumers? No. That's the myth. That's the myth. It's possible short term, depending. But manufacturing in the U.S. actually does the opposite. Because guess what? If you're manufacturing in the U.S., then Americans are working at these plants. Americans are working and benefiting from the local economy. So don't forget, you're bringing that back into the United States, and it's benefiting the workers here. So if you're manufacturing things here and we're making everything here, then that's why that doesn't work, or works in a good way. So in the short term, if you're like, all right, we're going to build plants here, in the short term, there could be a supply squeeze. You put X amount of tariffs on a country, those prices might temporarily go up. But then if you're building, let's say, supercomputer chips and X, Y, and Z, and you're building these plants, it might take 5-10 years to build some of these plants, and you have to get, the competency and the quality employees, the skilled employees to be working. But no, long term, it benefits this country. High taxes, no incentive. Has anyone talked about the need for a larger floating point number with more decimal places if Bitcoin ever divides up too much? You already have the Lightning Network. You already have like layer two with the Lightning Network. But bottom line, even if it ever goes to, when it goes to dollar parity and this, that, and the other, maybe there's something that gets, for fractions of a Satoshi, but it still doesn't increase the supply, right? So people are like, well, you can just, if you have to break it down more, that doesn't increase the supply. That just fractionalizes the use case more. But I personally don't think people aren't going to be sending massive Bitcoin payments on layer 1. They're going to be using layer 2 and layer 3 and other things that come out over time. But Bitcoin will be like the last settlement layer for like massive moves. But, you know, if you're sending billions of dollars, you'll be doing it on layer 1. But that's why Lightning exists, because it's faster for transactions. But, you know, I mean, this is just kind of when Steak and Shake accepts Bitcoin. It's like anyone who's like truly invested in Bitcoin, you might do it as a gimmick, but most people aren't going to be necessarily using their Bitcoin for day-to-day purchases. You can, as long as you're replacing it. But there's always going to be multiple layers. There's always going to be paper Bitcoin and these ETFs. There's going to be other layers on top of it, right? Like you use credit, you get loans, you do other things based on stable coins. And there's a lot of things that are going to be figured out over time. All right. Went way deeper than I was expecting on all that, but it's good stuff. Let's get into some balls deep content. If you're watching on TikTok, thank you so much for being here, Beaches. And we're going to get into some more videos. So if you want to catch the rest of the show, come on over to Apple Podcast, not Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. You can watch it later on Spotify, but come on over to Rumble and YouTube and catch the rest of the show. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you, Beaches. Let's move on to some BD.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! That's deep.
Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions around what like the tariffs are going to do and what like manufacturing does in this country. Yeah. Wild times. But of course, the Democrats are going to find some way. Oh my God, the market's ripping, this, that, and the other. Trump is so bad because what? Because people are making a ton of money. What are they going to say now? They're going to move on to something else. All right, let's get into a video. We'll start off. We got a couple short ones. I'll do this one. It's called A Few... Whoa. Goddamn. Holy shit.
What the fuck is that?
We're going to kick it off with a few days on estrogen. Big Bitcoin episode today. I appreciate that. If you guys like talking about it, you guys can ask questions. I enjoy talking about Bitcoin more than fitness and exercise, to be honest. Because a lot of it's just the same old shit, and I feel like people already know, they're just not going to do it. So if I can help with your physical gains and your generational wealth gains, I am happy to provide information that I do have. And again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. I mean, hopefully I'm accurate. I mean, I'm just passing along what has made me successful and what I've learned over the years. But there's a lot of people that know much more than me that talk about it all the time and write these books. So go and check them out. But it's all real. You want to really go down the rabbit hole and figure out how absolutely grotesquely sick this entire system is, read The Creature from Jekyll Island. And you're going to be like, fuck this shit. Go read that. It's about the creation of the Federal Reserve, and you're going to realize how everything is just a fucking scam. It's a fucking scam. But that's a deeper read. You really got to know what you're getting involved with a big one. All right, a few days on estrogen. Check it out.
I got it! Look, I got it! Ooh, yes!
Is that Mark?
Those hormones are really starting to work. I just watched some clips of a really emotional movie and I teared up. Normally I don't, but now I'm starting to. Whew.
Jesus Christ. Look, I got my estrogen and now I'm crying like a little bitch. Okay, well, that's good luck with that.
Are there any women here today?
Good luck with that. Speaking of retarded, this one's called Dad's Transition.
What's in the box?
Oh, boy.
Talking to our 7-year-old and just checking in with them, being like, how are you feeling about Dad's transition these days? Do you have any questions? And my partner was so cute, was just like, how do you feel about the fact that like Dad's a little pretty sometimes and adorable? And immediately, without missing a beat, my 7-year-old was just like, I'm just happy that Dad gets to feel like themselves. The kids aren't confused. The kids are not confused.
Your kid is. You just fucked up your child for life. What a sick fuck, man. What a sick fuck.
Shut up, bitch!
Jesus Christ. The kids are not confused. Your kid is very fucking confused. You're very confused. You have a mental disorder. And we wish you didn't reproduce. But yeah, good luck with all that. That person should be putting some money away in Bitcoin for his child's therapy in the future. Because you need a lot of it. You need a lot of therapy. So that person is better off. He's better putting off his money into Bitcoin. That way he can afford all the therapy for his son. Okay. We got one more. Wow.
What's in
all
the
right.
box?
White trans. White trans.
If you are a white, trans, or queer person, I want to have a conversation with you today about whiteness. First of all, happy Catter Day. Meow, claws out. Anybody guess where this is from?
Oh, fuck.
One of my favorite
fucking
kitty
fuck.
shows. Anyway, back
God,
to the
fuck.
conversation. I was having a great chat today with a dear friend of mine who is a black woman, and we were talking about white women and white supremacy and how a lot of white people uphold white supremacy by just existing.
Got to mention
My
your friend's
friend
race,
brought up
right?
a really good point that I know is something I've had to sit with in my life. And when she brought it up, I was like, yeah, this is a great topic of conversation, is that most white people, especially in the West, even if they are part of other marginalized groups, i.e. trans, queer, disabled, whatever it is, most white people expect equality because of their whiteness. Let me say that again.
No,
most
don't-
white people expect equality, safety, rights, and all of that because they were born white. Now, I know that seems like a really hard pill to swallow,
Sounds
but if you
retarded.
compare that to other marginalized communities of color, people who are non-white, think of them being born into a system that was never going to put them on top in the first place. So therefore, there are no expectations of superiority, right? I mean, we do see people of color go the capitalist route and try to become billionaires, but at the same time, it's always in proximity to whiteness.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Dandroid on YouTube. Dandroid says, I'm sure nothing is hard for him to swallow. Oof. Oof.
Because Dickens?
Oh, nice one.
Well, I could be wrong.
Well done, sir.
But I believe diversity
Well done,
is
sir.
an old wooden ship that was used during the Civil War era.
Indeed. Indeed. Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, let's do, yeah, okay. Let's do some throwback. Let's do some throwback, shall we? Let's do some throwback. Let's do a throwback. TBT. 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 Dextroza says, just me, or is it a struggle to stay committed to gymming without additional PED supplements? Just you, man. Just you. I'm not telling you not to take like TRT and stuff like that, but I don't think it's a struggle. You have to have purpose too. You know, you're gonna struggle with your discipline if you don't understand why you're doing the things. So I don't think it's a struggle to stay committed. Don't forget, you're not supposed to be motivated. You might just be chronically exhausted, so you feel drained. So a lot of people drain themselves. They don't get sunlight. They don't get sleep. They don't eat quality food. Their training programs suck. And then they're like, I need testosterone. It's like, well, you don't take care of yourself. So testosterone might just give you this faux, like superficial, like, ooh, I have some more energy now, but you're still eating crap and you're still pulling yourself in two different directions. So, yeah. If you're struggling to go to the gym without taking gear, I wouldn't say it's just you, but that's not the answer. The answer is your other lifestyle habits that are going to boost your testosterone naturally. I'm not saying don't take TRT at some point, but do those other things first, and then you're going to get more benefits from anything that you do, or you need less, for example. Anyway, all right, let's do...
What's in the box?
Let's do a throwback.
that the only people responsible for Trump being the president-elect right now are the Democrats.
Well, yeah.
Because they saw that there was an issue with Biden, and rather than in the 4 years that Biden was president, replacing him with a candidate that was actually qualified to do the job.
What the hell?
And I'm sorry, but the people who were protesting for weeks, if not months, outside of their universities, who got suspended, expelled, etc., who risked their lives to do the things that they did.
Who is she talking about? You mean like the terrorism, the domestic terrorist riots, like the Palestine bullshit? You mean that?
I'm not going to vote in good conscience for that is why so many people didn't vote, because they couldn't in good conscience vote for a genocidal maniac.
Shut up, bitch!
Is she a better candidate than Trump? 100%. No one's arguing that.
Yeah, everyone, the vast majority of American
that.
people argued that correctly too. She's 1,000% worse than Trump. Like in every possible way, she's worse than Trump. Yeah, Kamala is probably one of the worst people, period. You know what's also the highest level of ignorance is that people underestimate the evil. They underestimate the psychopathy in politics. Look, you have these positions where you get an amazing amount of power, more power than any person should have. It shouldn't be like this at all. The government should be fucking like a pea size. And that attracts lunatics. It attracts psychopaths. That's what the government does. That's why you have these people, even like CEOs, like pharmaceutical companies, they look at bottom lines, shareholder value, like they're disconnected from reality. You know, this kind of ivory tower bullshit, you know, rules for thee, but not for me. It attracts people that have no sense of community. They're complete sociopaths, psychopaths. Like these people are power hungry. Positions of power attract people that are hungry for power. And that's why you get people like fucking Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton, just evil fucking twats that don't give a fuck about you. Why are these people in charge? Again, all these things, look, all these roads, and you probably maybe heard the term, all roads lead to Bitcoin. It's like Bitcoin is opting out of this garbage. It's like, no, I'm going to hold my own money. No, I don't want you to steal from me 24 hours a day, 365. No, I'm not going to fund your fucking idiotic wars overseas. Stop stealing from me. Stop stealing from my kids. Stop stealing from my grandchildren. Stop stealing from me every fucking day. So you're opting out of a system that's completely fundamentally fucked. Let's do another one. Throwback City.
To my new series, everybody, where I teach you about things that are fat phobic that you may not have known are fat phobic. Nerd! We're gonna take it all the way back to the dating apps. When someone puts something in their bio that says, I like people who are active.
I'm going to pause you right there. You know what that means? I like people who are active. That's a nice way of saying, I don't want someone who's fat and lazy. I don't want a fat, lazy slob.
Now that is a statement that insinuates and assumes that all fat people are lazy and
This is a grift. This is a lie and a grift. And you don't have to like it. But overwhelmingly, the reason why, what are we defining as lazy? Lazy is essentially you're undisciplined. It just means you're not doing what you should be doing.
therefore having that in your bio is fat phobia.
Shut up, bitch!
My God. Damn. God damn. Let's do another one. I'm feeling good today. We went deep. We went thick. We went veiny. All right, we're doing another throwback. 394. Send it.
Money doesn't have the luxury of spending more money on healthier foods.
Fatty. You can eat much healthier with the money you're currently spending. This is a very much, in many cases, a grift. Maybe you're not buying filet mignon, grass-fed, grass-finished, but you can get just beef. Get beef, eat eggs, eat real food. Eating ramen isn't the answer.
Why do you think at the dollar store you see quick-made meals?
Again, eating at a dollar store, there's your problem.
You don't see healthier foods like vegetables, fruits. To buy a whole meal at a grocery store is so expensive depending on the size of your family. That's why it's so much easier for people to go to fast food places
Ugh.
because most fast food joints nowadays have dollar menus.
She's lying. That's a lie.
And you can feed your entire family for about $10.
You can poison your family for $10. Get $10. You could buy 2 pounds of beef. You could buy, a dozen eggs. You could feed your family with eggs. Again, money can be spent different ways. Oh my God. Yet the person's putting and slathering shit all over their fat face, but they don't want to eat quality food. The stupid shit that women will fucking do. Like they'll put makeup on their face and then not take care of their fat gut. Like let me make sure my face looks good. It's like, bitch, you're wider than you are tall. What the hell are you doing? People care about what fucking car they drive or the label on their clothes. It's like your gut's hanging out. You can't even get out of your car without groaning because you're fat as shit. Who cares if you have a $1,500 a month car payment, you eat McDonald's and you're fat as fuck. People take care of their car. I haven't washed my truck in like a year. I'm not saying, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying like, I don't care. I don't want to spend $100 to have someone come and wash it. I just don't give a shit. I paid for it in cash. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I want it to drive. I change the oil. I'll do whatever. I take it in every time I need to. Like it's fine. It's like people spend their money and their effort and their time on stupid shit. So many people, food is so expensive. And again, they have $1,000 a month car payment. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Dextroza, I'm from RSA is what? Republic of South Africa? Is that correct? So no offense, but the USA has got a problem with these mental health issues and it does rub off on the world. Oh, no offense taken. We're here on the show. Most of us here are Americans and we want to make America great again, but 100% in agreement with you. There's a lot of mental health. There's a lot of mental health issues in this country. A lot of mental health. So yeah, you got that right. You got that right. Of course, not all, but yeah, at least more than half have because they voted for Trump. So at least there's a majority, but it's close. It's close. It's scary how many people are ignorant and retarded. Mark says I had a car payment, tuition, credit card bill, and still managed to take care of my health. How did you do that, Mark? How did you do that? How'd you do that?
Wow.
My God. Good Lord. Jarella says my little busted ass car paid off 12 years ago. I'm driving it until it disassembles around me. Yeah. I have. Yeah, both our cars are I think both of our cars are 2014. I don't drive many places, so I don't need, what do I care? I don't want a $1,000 truck payment for something I don't drive all the time. You buy a new car, it's like you lose 10, 20 grand on it. When you drive it off the lot, buying a new car is, I think the stupidest thing you could possibly do is buy a new car cash. That's the stupidest thing you can do. Unless you're a multi-millionaire. It's like you spend 40, 50 grand on a car. It's like, okay, whatever. But buying a new car, period, is just absolutely idiotic. Idiotic. Plus, I also don't want all the technology in it. I don't want my car knowing when every thought that I have. I don't need Apple CarPlay and all that shit. I don't want all that technology in my car. I've actually been looking at older trucks too. I'm looking at older stuff. I want to get a 96 Ford F-150. I want to get an old school, the kind where it's beige and a red stripe. I want to get one of those I want to get an old truck. But I already have an old truck. And the truck that I have, it's at the rate that I drive it, I might literally have this forever. I kind of like doing that off principle. I like having something just forever. I've had this thing. I remember I bought it when I was doing this with the business and this, and it's like a memory. Yeah, ridiculous. Ridiculous. The problem is you go back to one of those old square body trucks and you're actually not saving money. They're starting to come up in value. You're paying so it actually isn't always like a good idea if you get something that's in really good condition and, but I would love to, I want like an old square body truck and just like a real beater. But I already have a truck, so it's like I wouldn't take up more space. I feel like if anything, I would give this one to Mama Swolio, and then I would just get like I would get like a new old truck. I would get like an old new truck. Yeah. I mean, they're all going to have like 150,000 or 180,000 miles on it. The problem is once you start doing that, if it's not in really, really good condition, like I'm also to the point where I've had junker cars before, and the worst thing is not knowing if your car is going to start and like not knowing if you're going to have like a problem. So I don't want a car that's going to be like, hey, I don't know if this is going to get me to my destination. That's not acceptable. But I love I love the old trucks. But I want it to be reliable. I don't care. I don't really care. I would get like a first generation Hummer. Just keep the doors off, but I don't even drive it enough, and it would just take up so much space. So, but anyway, those old trucks are great. I like the key ignition. Don't give me that push start garbage. Dextrosa, I would love to come to the US, but want to go to Texas. Also scared because your police are trigger happy and every second person has a gun in Texas. Oh, I don't know if I don't think you're trolling. No, that's not true. The police are not trigger happy. You're watching leftist propaganda. They'll show you the clip of the video after like the person assaults a cop or runs from the cops or threatens a cop with their life or charges at them with a knife or a gun. Then they only show you the clip where the cop like returns fire because their life is being threatened. And they're like, look, the cops shoot. It's like, yeah, but all these traffic stops are people that are fleeing from them or assaulting officers. There are very, very few, if any, that are the cop is just they're not running around shooting people. If you comply, you're fine. Like that's only when people are resisting arrest and doing stupid shit. Case in point, George Floyd died of a fentanyl overdose, but he instigated the whole thing. So that's nonsense. That's nonsense. And it's better if you're in Texas, if you're in Texas or in Florida, and you have the right, like constitutional carry, or, look, and the people that are starting conflicts are criminals. You don't have people that are really well trained in martial arts and jujitsu and things like that, practicing martial arts. These are people that can fight and kill you, but they also have control of their emotions. They understand what true violence is. They're not the ones causing all these problems. Like people that are like ex-military, they're not the ones that are causing problems. They're the ones that understand what true violence is, and they know how to avoid those situations. You have weak, scared people that are doing stupid shit. And mentally insane people. So if you have a culture of people that are trained with firearms, like you just don't fuck with people. Like I'm in Florida. I would never be aggressive on the highway or like road rage. Like you don't know what people are up to. You don't know what people are willing to do or willing to sacrifice. It's not worth it. You have to laugh and move on and avoid situations. And there's a great quote where it comes to like concealed carrying for firearms. It's like, if you wouldn't go somewhere without a gun, don't go there with a gun. I'll say it again. If you wouldn't go somewhere without a gun, like if like I'm not going there, I'm bringing my gun. You shouldn't go there with one. So like, hey, I'm not going to downtown Miami unless I bring my gun. It's like, then don't go to downtown Miami. If you're going to the library, it's like, okay, I'll carry. Something's not likely to happen, but in the off chance, like I'm not going somewhere where there's going to be a risk of something happening. I'm not going to go there, period. I'm not going to be like, well, I better bring a gun because it's going to be dangerous. It's like, don't go there. There's your sign to not go there. So if you wouldn't go somewhere without a gun, don't go there with one. It's just a great piece of advice. Don't put yourself in conflicts. Don't go out and be out on the streets at 2:00 in the morning in a back alley. It's like, no shit. Nothing good is going to happen there. Nothing good is going to happen. Right? If you're out past like 10 o'clock, there's nothing beneficial that's happening that late. I'm not saying never be out. Like sometimes you work and something happens, but you know what I'm saying? Don't put yourself in stupid situations. You ever see these things where like this woman got assaulted on the street in New York City? She's walking down a dark road at like she's walking down a dark road at night. Like, yeah, no fucking kidding. With her headphones in on her phone and she gets attacked. No situational awareness, high risk. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And don't live places where you can't carry. In New York City, the criminals can have guns, but you can't. Fuck that place. What a shithole. Cities are shitholes. Chicago, New York, fucking garbage. Gross. Get out of those places. I'm always carrying. I'm always carrying. Because you never know where you need it. Better to need it. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I've had a lot of interactions with police. Never gotten shot. Never gotten arrested. Why? Because if I get pulled over, I smile and wave and put my hands on the wheel. And if a cop is aggressive, I mean, I've had cops that are like kind of like pissed off or this or the other. Just go along with it. You're not going to make it better by pushing back. Like you don't have any leverage. You know? Just, hey, hands on the wheel, license, registration. Here you go, officer. Oh, you were doing this. Oh, I'm sorry. Like they gave you a ticket or a warning or like, hey, okay. Like that's not the time to fight back. What you pulled me over for? What the fuck, man? It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, you see these like videos. And again, on like X and on leftist media, when like people are posting this stuff, look, someone got shot. They don't show everything that happened before. So police officers are under extreme stress. They pull someone over speeding on the highway. They don't know if they're getting shot when they walk up to the window. That's why they walk up. They put their hand on the car to get their fingerprint on it. Their hand is kind of by their hip. They don't know. They're looking in the window. You have tints. You have like the windows rolled up and you're rummaging in the seat or you're looking sketchy. Yo, it's like you're asking for conflict. In other words, whatever you do is just make it as safe feeling for the cop as possible. It's not going to benefit you to push back. Like, just accept what's going to happen. If you were speeding, maybe he lets you off. Or maybe you get a speeding ticket. Okay, it's a couple $100 and you pay a ticket clinic and it goes away. Just like, it's not worth dying over. It's not worth dying over. I've gotten pulled over for tints. I've gotten pulled over for so many different things. It's like, just take it. Just take it. I've gotten pulled over leaving, years ago, leaving a shopping plaza. We're getting like wings at like an ale house or something like that. This is like 15 years ago, and there's a couple bars, like one of those strip malls where you have like a ale house, you have wings, you have a Fridays, whatever. And a cop, like, one of the side roads where people go and they drive home. They see people leaving and they pull over a couple people, right? They have to hit their quota. Most people are probably drinking and they'll like ask questions and like check you out. It's like, just fucking go with it. Go with it. Even if you have like, look, even if you shouldn't have been doing it, but let's say you get a DUI, it's like, just go with it. Go through the pain. It sucks, but like fighting back and making it harder for their job, how is that going to benefit you? What the fuck are you doing? I'm just trying to go home. Come on, motherfucker. Well, he's absolutely right. Well, on your way, sir. Like said no one ever. Like you're just going to make it worse. You're always going to make it worse. You're carrying a firearm. You have your concealed carry. You can let the officer know, like, hey, just so you know, I'm carrying on the appendix. I'm a concealed carry. Here's my license. Here's my registration. Just letting them know, hey, I have this, or I have a gun in the, is there any weapons in here? Like, yeah, I have a firearm. It's concealed. It's a concealed carry. I have my license, whatever, abide by the rules, know what your rights are. But you ever see these videos where people are recording and they refuse? Like, I'm not giving you my identification. And they do it for like YouTube content because they're a lawyer and they know all their laws. It's like, you might be right, but you're just going to you're just making an issue. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. Like you're just making it worse. Ellie says, I got pulled over a few days ago for speeding, laughed about it and admitted to it, got a warning.
Well, that's because you're a white woman. White supremacy.
No, it's because you fucked up and, hey, I'm sorry. Like I was going like, yeah, where are you heading to? Oh, I'm just heading back to home and I'm trying to pick up my kid from daycare. It's a lot of cops would be like, all right, just slow down. I'll give you a written warning or a verbal warning. And it's like going, I won't do it again. And then you're like, shit. And you drive slow for the next few days, right? It's not going to work out. It's not going to work out pushing back. Yeah, fight them in court. It's just not the place. It's not the place where it's at night or you're on a speeding road and it's dangerous. Because just because you're pulled over, you're on a highway, someone could be reaching for a fucking pork rind and run you both over. It's high risk. So you have to just be really mindful of the stress that cops are over. Just understand, you get pulled over, the cop doesn't know if you have a gun pointed at the door and they're going to get shot. So everything is on edge. Maybe not for you. You're like upset. How come you pulled me over? Oh my God, I'm going to have to pay this bill. I don't have the money for it. It's not the time. It's not the place. It's not the place. Alan says, man, I've been pulled over with no ID. And just because I've been respectful, I give them my insurance and everything. Yeah, I got a ticket, but I never made it worse or started arguing. It's right. Cause like, if you don't have an ID, they might be like, all right, well, we can't let you drive home. We can get it towed to your house or whatever. Or they're like, come on, cops know that shit happens. But if you act like a sketchy motherfucker, they have something to hide and you're aggravating them, they might just take out their day on you and be like, you know what? Fuck you, man. I'm taking you in. Step out of the car, please. And then you argue that and they pull you out of the car. Then you get resisting or whatever the other charges you can get state to state. Like, who knows? Ellie says, I'm only half white, but my pale white mother was in the car with me. It was probably all her white privilege. Hey, you know. White privilege has its perks. The problem with gun laws is that they penalize law-abiding citizens. They don't penalize criminals. Criminals have guns, objectively. They're always going to have guns. Like, you're not stopping that. So gun laws don't actually remove guns from anywhere. They just make it impossible for people to protect themselves. So it should be constitutional carry everywhere, which is just a sinister assault on basic human rights to be able to defend yourself. But that's your choice. You can move to a better state. Move to a better state. Okay. Yeah, there's like one time I had like switched, I switched insurance, and especially now with like the digital age and everything, and I didn't print it out. I didn't have like a physical insurance card, or they didn't send it to me yet. I had just switched or whatever. So I'm like, oh, but I have it on my phone. You show on their phone and you bring up like Progressive or whatever it is, and they look at it. It's like they just want to make sure, like if they're checking you, because you also don't know if they pull you over, they might be looking for someone in a pickup truck. They might be looking for someone in a red car or something like that. You don't know what they're looking for. They're not gonna tell you, hey, we've been looking for this person who's been robbing houses that's in a car just like yours. So when they come up and they look in the back, you don't know what they're looking for. You don't know what they have a call for. You don't know what they're on the lookout for. So they're checking it out. Someone might say like, oh, there's a red car that was snooping around and you just happen to drive by in a red car and they pull you over like, what the fuck did I do? So your instinct just get pissed off. You don't know what they're looking for. Maybe they're looking for someone else who's been like, you don't know. Some people don't see the license plate. Well, a red car was driving by. You have a red car, you get pulled over. You don't know what they're looking for. You don't know what's on the call. Let's see. Ana Luisa. Last week, I got pulled over around 1 a.m. because I made an illegal left turn when I thought no one was looking. She just gave me a warning. For sure, I'm following all the signs. Yeah, I did this once. This was in college or high school. I had an old 91 Civic, and my rotors were so warped. And you guys might know this, like if you're up north and salt and stuff, your rotors get warped. So when you step on the brakes, it's like your car shudders. And it was like 2 a.m. I was coming back from a friend's house, and the stoplight was on like a steep hill. And it was one of those steep hills where like I could see, you could see for like a mile down each road. Like I could see obviously at night, no one was coming, and it was a red light. It was a small town. So I'm like going down the hill, like I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to roll through it. Wouldn't you know, I just rolled right through the red light, and a cop was like, lights off. I didn't see, and pulled me over. And I just told him the truth. And he's like, you just went right through that. I'm like, so I was like, yeah, I'm really sorry, officer. My rotors are so absolute, like shaking like crazy. I thought my brakes were going to go out. So I just decided to roll through because I didn't see anyone coming. Sorry about that. And ironically, I had just gotten some cologne samples. Check this out. I had gotten some cologne samples from someone, and if you don't know what cologne samples look like, it was like those little tiny like vials. It had like yellow liquid. And this is like, I don't know, 2002, 91, 2000 maybe, 99, I don't know. So I had like all these like yellowish vials like on the passenger seat. So the cop's like, all right, and he looks and he goes, what are those? And I look and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, oh, those are just cologne samples. Like, I swear. And he's like, I was gonna be like, you want to smell it? Like, of course, the cop's not gonna be like, yeah, let me take a hit. But now he let me go because I had like some tags on him. So I didn't even know. I forgot about that. I looked. I was like, oh shit, because it could have been whatever. Who knows? At the time, it could have been some sort of drugs or whatever. So anyway, yeah, let me off with I'm gonna take it. I got a warning because I didn't have like an excuse. I wasn't making I mean, I literally said like that was my logic. Like my rotors. I mean, I have a little dinky old car. I'm a little high school kid. I was just driving and rolling through. I didn't slow down. I wasn't driving erratically. I just went through the red light. And I guess he gets it. You know, there's no one around. It was quiet. He was probably, who knows. All right. Long show. We went deep. So let's give away today's Swole card. Thanks for being here. Hashtag live Swole. A lot of you did that. Let's drop that in the comments. A lot of you did it already. Let's give away today's Swole card. Swole card. Swole card. Papa's a thug. I'm a thug. Well, live Swole. I think you are living swole, and I think your son is living swole also. Jeremy Beast Mode, congratulations. Live swole. Very nice. Very nice. Bitcoin and trans. What an episode. What an episode. We did a lot today. All right. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Jeremy, send us an email to support@swolenumbers.com. Swole card 3302 in the subject. Your mailing address in the body of the email. And I got a story for you guys at the buzzer. Congratulations, Jeremy. Rufus is loud. I got a story. So Mama Swolio is on set right now. She's doing a production. She's doing a production for, like, I think Armra Colostrum or something. I've heard that brand. I guess they're doing a lot of advertising or whatever. So they're doing something at the beach in Miami. And she's on set doing, I don't know if it's hair or makeup or both. Anyway, so she sent me a text and she was laughing. She goes, it cracks me up when all these people are like, wow, you look so jacked to these models. She says, I can't help but laugh. Like, these people have never seen jacked in their lives. And then I respond, I said, it's like when websites post a celebrity that got jacked for a role and you look at the picture and they have a dad bod. So she goes, exactly. The models on the shoot are considered buff. And she said, these guys are lean at best. I would never use the word jacked. Well, you're living with Papa Swolio, so you know what actually jacked fucking looks like. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? You know what jacked looks like. Because you're coming home to your boy. You know what actually jacked looks like. I love it. It's like, wow, Hugh Jackman, this so-and-so got jacked for a role. I'm like, that... You know, the celebrity, and like they look like they barely lift. What are you talking about, jacked? He put on 10 pounds of muscle. Wow, he looks like he does cardio. These guys are lean at best. I would never use the word jacked. Damn right. Damn right. Go to the fucking gym. Thanks for being here. Fam, we will see you tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Remember, the episode is private for members only. Tomorrow, May 22nd at 9:30 a.m. We'll see you tomorrow at the round table bright early, 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. 1 hour. Be there at 9:30. It's going to be great. Link is on your homepage in your app. Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace, McGee's, Deuce McGoose, your boy Papa Swolio. Out.
Crazy flow, need a straight jacket. Cash flow, I'm a bank addict. 6 subs, had the bass smacking. 808, had the place clapping. 3 girls is enough for me, so I pull out like the stock crashing. Like an IPO, trying to purchase me. This a private sector, so you can't have it. Faking all that boom bapping. Who you think you is, boy? 90s want they sound back, so I give rap all these fake rappers as I take matters in my own hands. I don't need rapping, I don't need Zans. I don't need help, I'm a grown man. Now they can't left and they so mad, it's like...
Then yeah, I found that young king with my crown at 10 racks in the fanny pack, couple hundred in the Louis bag.
That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you laid. What kind of game is you playing? shit is relevant. On topic, my melanin is popping. I'm taking